Jose Chiling de Castro says he was forced to do fundraiser for Jeremiah Payne. Doesn't sound like a ringing endorsement for Payne's attempt to revive his channels. Floyd Wallace insults American women again. What else is new? Carolina in Fort Worth decides on jail time instead of probation as she wouldn't take limits to her auditing. Plus, Craig Hendry and others really need money. Why isn't anyone donating to their campaigns? All this and more on this edition of Auditing Insanity. Good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Auditing Insanity Newscast brought to you by ReallyCoolNews. I'm Johnny Jones, and I'll be your host for a very late edition of the newscast tonight. As we're so late, we're just going to dive into combined news for Friday, December 13th and Saturday, December 14th, 2024. With that, we ask you to focus on Carolina in Fort Worth picks jail time over probation. Carolina in Fort Worth, Rodriguez chose to serve 30 days in county jail rather than go on 30 days of supervised probation as punishment for her conviction of one count of interfering with public duties on Thursday. According to BZ Watchdog, who was in court for the hearing, Carolina chose jail time as she was sentenced to 30 days, given credit for 3 days' time served, and was expected to do 7 to 10 days due to overcrowding in the jail. The alternative, again, would have been 30 days of supervised probation, where BZ reported that she would have had to follow strict rules imposed by the court, including staying out of trouble and a ban on interacting with police during that time. She essentially chose jail as probation would have stopped her from auditing. BZ was joined by Harvey Freebird and Manuel Mata on the broadcast, and the trio went straight into conspiracy theories based on their conjecture about what really happens with the Fort Worth police. Freebird noted that the charges related to resisting arrest and trying to flee the scene were dropped in order to protect the police from charges of excessive force. BZ stated that during the sentencing portion of the trial that police detectives said that excessive force was used on Rodriguez during the arrest but was drowned out by the other panelists. Also drowned out was BZ's attempt to pitch that Rodriguez needed $15,000 for an appeal, which he started to get into again before being talked over by the panelists. The panel devolved into another hour of the three shouting conspiracy theories at each other to see who could shout the loudest. During that time, Mata promised that he'd win a civil lawsuit against the Fort Worth police now that he can add Rodriguez's conviction to his evidence. Mata has claimed that he had a history with Rodriguez's arresting officer, who arrested him for crossing the street in the past. Mata, Freebird, and Joe Cool all attempted to confront the officer before hearings in the trial earlier in the week. BZ Watchdog courted controversy before the sentencing hearing got underway as he sat in the lobby, recording jurors as they entered the building. BZ identified each juror as they went through security and gave out what he knew of their background as they passed in front of his camera. The YouTuber recently lost his job at Uber, following his arrest that he filmed while attempting to do an Uber pickup in a gated community in Fort Worth. BZ blamed the trolls for reporting him to Uber and has been promoting a drop shipping product line while requesting donations from his fans for support until he finds another job. Delete laws forced to fundraise for Payne. Jose Chili de Castro returned to live streaming Thursday night, with a stream dedicated to reimbursing one of his friends for paying Jeremiah Payne's outstanding fines in Kentucky, allowing the controversial YouTuber to stay out of jail for the holiday season. An agitated de Castro made it clear that he normally does not do fundraisers between Thanksgiving and Christmas, as was uncomfortable asking his fans for donations during the holiday season. He stated that he was approached by SWE Observer, who serves in a moderation role on both Payne and de Castro's channel. to at least listen to Payne's plight. This resulted in the two men having a conversation about Payne's situation where DeCastro confronted Payne over past comments about him. DeCastro held a successful fundraiser for Jeremiah Payne in 2023 when Payne and wife Samantha were arrested on a live stream for outstanding warrants. DeCastro went further, arranging for transportation and help for the Payne family in the time around the arrest until such a time when Payne's actions became problematic for the YouTuber. Payne eventually turned his pleas into a near-weekly demand of his fans for money that he claimed that he needed to pay for housing for his family. Payne's aggressive nature caused him to lash out at DeCastro and others when they failed to provide him with the same amount of attention for the rest of his fundraisers in 2023. Recently losing monetization on his main channel, Payne originally started fundraising to make rent again. This led to ambivalence from the public in general, having lived through countless other fundraisers by the First Amendment auditor. That fundraiser seemingly morphed into a fundraiser where Payne needed roughly the same amount of money, but this time to keep himself out of jail. Eyebrows were raised as Payne stated that he needed roughly $600 to pay old fines, or else he would be taken to jail for 280 days. Payne spent most of last weekend angrily lashing out at his fans and other YouTube creators as he live-streamed for over 10 hours. He claimed he had a Monday deadline and would be in jail by Tuesday, but Tuesday came and went without Payne's jailing. Adding to the controversy, Payne scrubbed his YouTube of most of his live streams from over the weekend, including the streams where he called out DeCastro and others as not caring about his plight. DeCastro had Payne on his channel briefly, as he again made it clear that none of the money donated during the fundraiser was going to be distributed to Payne directly. Again, he said that the need was over as Payne's fines were paid and showed a receipt for $526. Payne's time was limited to thanking DeCastro's fans for their efforts and plugging his own YouTube channels. Payne is currently attempting to monetize one of his 3 other backup channels until he is able to restore monetization to his main channel with nightly live streams to achieve the required watch hours for monetization. DeCastro's fundraiser met its goal during the Payne segment, and the YouTuber was quickly dismissed and DeCastro returned to critiquing anti-police videos for the rest of his time on his live stream. Craig Hendry in dire straits as market collapses. In a recent live stream, Jose "Chili" DeCastro stated that he didn't like to hold fundraisers between Thanksgiving and Christmas as it tended to be a stressful time that people didn't have a lot of extra money to contribute due to the holiday season. DeCastro's observations seemed to be true as the market was completely dead, other than a wonderful contribution by our hate watcher for most of the week. Thursday and Friday continued the trend as no donations were observed to any of the funds that we follow. Things are especially dire with Craig Hendry, as his attempts to raise the money for his appeal of felony harassment charges out of Vermilion County, Indiana, have failed. This seems to be due to both a lack of effort to promote Hendry's crowdsourcing campaigns and a growing sense of apathy from his supporters. While Chili DeCastro claims he's putting money into Hendry's commissary books each week, Hendry himself hasn't released a statement from jail in weeks, nor is he using both of his popular YouTube channels to promote his causes. For someone who claims he needs over $15,000 to fund his appeal, Hendry is doing little to promote his causes as he is staffed to maintain his YouTube channels while he's in jail. As it stands, it's been 18 days since the last donation to his fundraiser for the $15,000 needed for his current appeal. It's been 9 days since the last donation to his general to support Craig's work fundraiser. DeCastro may be Hendry's only lifeline while in jail at the moment, and it's strange to see a lack of effort on his part to get the word out about his plight as again. He has a social media team in place and the ability to do updates while imprisoned. Hendry is due to be sentenced on December 17, 2024. We were recently called out by YouTuber Flex Your Freedoms on our YouTube channel for only having 400 views on a recent video and 4 begging for donations on every article and newscast we produce. It's true that we're a tiny YouTube channel that focuses on daily newscasts about First Amendment auditors and strange men who dress up as their grandmothers. We do ask for support from our viewers and readers to make providing the news financially viable. Like it or not, part of that process is running the ads that appear in our market coverage articles. We'd be hypocritical if we didn't promote our own GoFundMe campaign in our own articles featuring the crowdfunding market, as it's the same advice we give to those we cover in said articles. But to address Flex's criticism, we promise we'll do better. We'll try to spruce up our articles with the same zeal and zest as you do, as you've inspired us to put on a grandma outfit and parade around on camera. Rededicate ourselves to providing the best journalism around for our readers, our haters, and our future contributors. For that, all we ask of you is to pay attention for the next 30 seconds.
Journalism is not free. Both ReallyCoolSite.org's daily newspaper and our daily newscasts are funded by your continuing donations and what we make from our YouTube AdSense revenue each month. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on, eating, keeping the cats fed, and writing new stories to feature on both the newspaper and newscast each day, we do have a GoFundMe set up at the address on screen right now. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch the advertisements on our videos, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in.
Floyd Wallace disparages American women again. Floyd Wallace's Friday afternoon livestream was marred by bored fans, a lack of any substantial donations to his causes, and an announcement of yet another delay in his trial for interference in Oklahoma. Wallace's stream opened with the YouTuber outside, essentially walking around the block near the Airbnb he's been staying at in Columbia. He took random abuse from his audience, which swelled to over 120 observed viewers during his live stream, rivaling recent numbers by former Wallace mentor Jose Chili de Castro. As usual, Wallace was attempting to solicit donations to his ongoing fundraising campaigns. According to his side chat, Wallace still owed over $100 in probation fees, which he has failed to mention in the few live streams that Wallace hasn't set to private status on his YouTube channel. When directly asked about his Oklahoma court date by this reporter, Wallace replied that he would not answer the question unless a donation was made via Super Chat. He then stated that he had gone over the news before and that his Oklahoma court date was moved to January 22nd, in what he mused would be his last continuance in the case. The Oklahoma court system website has yet to reflect this information, as Wallace was listed as having jury selection earlier this week. Wallace also stated that he felt that this publication spread false information about him in the past. While he would not indicate what he felt was wrong with our reporting, Wallace took a cordial tone with the rest of our questions during the stream. After completing several walks around the block, Wallace said that he had a 6 in 10 chance of successfully cold approaching women in Columbia. He then complained that he would have a better chance at cold approaching if he were white, but was doing better than expected as being an American gave him an advantage. He again disparaged Black American women, stating that while he did not prefer encounters with Black women in general, he would rather have an encounter with a Black woman from Africa than a Black woman from the United States. Turning his attention to his planned Brazil trip, he promised that things would be better if he raises the funds for his Brazil trip. When asked how they would be better, as Floyd was now lying in bed during the middle of the day, instead of out experiencing the wonders of Colombia, he replied that there were more things to do in Brazil and that he had people there. Wallace made $42 in Super Chat donations during the stream that will not be applied to any of Wallace's fundraisers. And we're back. We're back at our semi-nightly live streams tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. where it counts, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. on the left coast. Tonight we're gearing up for our big week before the holidays take over and throw our schedules out the window. On that note, we'll see you back here tomorrow.